And we're joined now by Lino Lakes City Council member Michael Manthey. Michael, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Rusty, and thank you, North Metro TV, for having me tonight.
Absolutely. And so running for re-election in this case, first joined the council 4 years ago.
Correct.
And it was a contentious time. It was a contentious issue kind of that came to the forefront with that, with the fire department and the joining one or dropping one and joining and combining services. Is that still an issue in the city of Lino Lakes?
Well, in the city of Lino Lakes, I don't know if it's really an issue per se, as that the division back then was going to affect Lino Lakes in tax dollars and also care. It's slowly working its way out. It had to work its way out. There's still a lot that could be done and to be done better. Right. Unfortunately, currently, I'm probably a minority on the city council, so that particular issue is, you could say, currently tabled for now anyway. So, but that is what got me in, Rusty. I had put in about a decade plus of being on the fire department and coaching high school volleyball, so I've always been involved with the community and helping out. And so when people came to me and asking me questions regarding that issue at that time, it kind of pushed me to the front, shall we say, and eventually, when I couldn't get from our city council and mayor at the time the answers that we needed, I decided to run and was successful, and hopefully I've done a good job and can be successful this fall.
And so with that experience and being on council now for this term and looking ahead, what kind of opportunities are next for city council and for the city as a whole, but specifically for the council members and as a body making decisions? What kind of opportunities does the city face, do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question, Rusty. Currently, we're in a pretty good state as a city. We've got great staff. They do a really good job of providing the council with information for us to vote on, and they're always seeking out new opportunities. I think some of the big opportunities right now, currently and going into the future, are some of our larger residential developments. You may hear in the paper, there's always talk of wanting to bring businesses in. By providing more opportunities for those businesses by having developments pop up, I think we're looking pretty good in the future. If the citizens aren't familiar, we've got a very large development on the northeast side that's going in. Not only is that going to bring homes in, but it's also going to help out some of that land up there that's got kind of a water issue. It's probably got 50 to 100-year-old water drainage up there that's going into the lakes, and we all know that the lakes are kind of getting polluted and such, so that'll help take care of a lot of that drainage issue up there and clean up some of the lakes, so I'm pretty excited about that. So yeah, basically just want to make sure that the city grows at a speed that we can control. We don't want to have blight where development comes in, isn't sustainable, and then leaves, and then we're sitting as a city trying to deal with that. We want it to be able to come in and be successful for the community.
Yeah, you mentioned the issue with public safety and the specific issue that we talked about, yeah, maybe tabled for right now, kind of there. Are there any other issues like that the city is facing? And we talked about opportunities or whatever, but is there an issue, controversy is a strong word, but is there an issue that keeps kind of coming up in conversation right now, whether it's the public talking to the commissions or the council or even among the council that keeps coming up?
Yeah, I think, well, just to start the conversation off with, I think it's easy for people to read headlines and one bite kind of items. I think the city's doing a really good job all around. If I was to pick out maybe something specific, just lately we're talking about needing to update or provide a new facility for public works. And there's a lot of dollars that are going to be spent on that. You know, we want to make sure we do a good job. Anytime you're going to do a large project and spend a lot of money, that can become a contentious issue. I know for myself, I'm lucky to have great staff that provides us multiple project opportunities for one thing, so we're not just looking down one path. I think if I was to have to start all over again, I would probably would have liked to have looked at it earlier, because currently, if people have been paying attention, we're looking at $8 million was one number that was thrown out there. 4 years ago, that number wasn't that high. So every year it gets to be more and more and more just because of inflation and
right.
things like that. So We need to do something quickly just because we don't want to spend more money than we have to, and the facility that they're in right now is pretty poor. I encourage anybody to come up to the city council and give their advice, their opinion, because we try to do the best we can, but I don't want a headline or one little soundbite in the newspaper to be the direction we go.
Well, and you mentioned that specific project, and yeah, it is contentious. You may be the minority, or you may be the less vocal on city council. Among those, certainly current Mayor Reinert has spoken his piece about it and talking against it, and that high price tag. Is a project like that, though, something that may not get a lot of attention because the public's not going to see it on a regular basis? It's not something the public enjoys. I mean, it benefits people, and it has a better facility, and it's not costing more to maintain. I think the argument could be made, or what the case may be. But a new public works facility is not something that 20,000 Lino Lakes residents are going to see and be like, yes, look at our public works department. Is that part of this? And is that maybe people just focus on the price tag and think, well, what am I going to see out of that big price tag? Is that the essence of that?
That most certainly could be part of it. I think it's an opportunity for individuals to maybe use that in the press to highlight what they may be doing or not doing. I think the Public Works just wants a decent enough facility to be able to do their job, and they provide us information that our equipment would be best served under a roof. Now, when I first ran 4 years ago, the city needed to put in a fire station to become its own fire department. And at that time, I attended all the meetings, and I can tell you the mayor at that time told me, oh, it would only cost $800,000. Then it was $1.3 million. Then it was $3.2 million. It ballooned to over $4 million for a fire station that has nobody in it during the day. We have multiple fire stations, and I was a firefighter, so I most certainly have a love for the fire department and want them the best and have the best equipment. But if you're going to say one thing, and this isn't only the mayor, but the council at the time agreed that, yes, we need this, and oh no, it's going to be at this price, but it easily got to over $4 million. So those same people being negative about a public works building, I think they maybe need to reel it in and understand what the priorities are at this time.
And talk about priorities for Anoka County, Washington County, now working together on something called the Minnesota Tech Corridor, developing this land that's part of several cities, right? Lino Lakes, Centerville, Hugo, Forest Lake, Columbus, the two counties, the interstate highway right there. That presents, I would imagine, a bit of an opportunity for the city of Lino Lakes.
Correct.
What can you say about that, and what can the city do to really stay with that and really make sure that, yes, it's a regional effort, but there are maybe some specific things you think that the city can benefit from that?
Yeah, most certainly. Anytime you look broadly at a city, you want to make sure you got an even distribution of residential homes, commercial, business, all that sort of thing. And as a city, and a lot of cities in this area, we have a comp plan that we have to put together that actually shows geographically where we want industry, business, and such. And that portion of the city has always been allocated for business and commercial. But when you think business and commercial, you don't want to have anything that might be environmentally, whether it's noise or any type of pollution coming out of that's going to affect anybody that's close, whether they're residents. You want to have something in there that's really good for the community. So you want to maximize what you could put in there. And I think advertising that as for some sort of technology would be great for the community. It'd be a very low impact from environmental, and it's something that other businesses can latch onto in that area. We have a large acreage section up there on that corner, and that would do really well because, like I said, we're already starting to develop that northeast corner. So bringing in some business and some opportunities for people that not only live in Lino Lakes, but that might be thinking about moving, will have the possibility to build a home and work there. It would be great.
You know, as a city council member now for 4 years, you've developed maybe a little network of people that you hear from on a regular basis, and through the process of campaigning, that is always part of it, is talking to people about what they want. What do you hear from people who live in Lino Lakes, your neighbors or people that you know work in Lino Lakes? What are they saying to you about what they want to see the city do?
Well, there's always two sides. There's always people that say, well, we need more restaurants, and then there's others that say, we don't want to build anything. So you kind of have to find that balance. And in reality, the balance kind of comes from when somebody wants to move in, whether it's a business or a developer, we want to evaluate those to see if they're the best for the city and kind of let it take off from there. Now, outside of that, we also have the city staff that is part of different opportunities that bring in, or shall we say, developers, business, residential, that look to these groups then to find opportunities. So we're always part of these different groups to make sure that we're maximizing our opportunity. If somebody says, you know what, I want to know what's going on in Anoka County, our staff already has connections with Anoka County to make sure that if anybody has any interest, that Lino Lakes is looked at. Because sometimes being way out on the northeast side of the county, we might get neglected because downtown Anoka, you know, they're right there. So it's good that our staff does an excellent job of making sure if there's any opportunities for us to be part of groups that we are. So it's almost like you could say we're advertising our city and what we could do for them. So, yeah.
And looking ahead, you know, there's been tremendous growth in Lino Lakes over the last 20 years, but looking ahead 20 years, what do you see for the city of Lino Lakes? What do you see happening, and what would you like to see happen?
Well, I think currently we've got a decent pavement management plan, and we've also taken that with some direction from us city council to put the same type of plan with our trails. Now, most of the time trails get put in when developments come in, so we want to make sure that larger developments put trail systems in and greenway space with parks, so that not only is the city adding, but they're also adding the parks and the trails and the green space that we want. So I think that's really important.
Amenities that people enjoy. And
yes.
As you may have said, the reasons they may move to a certain place because of the amenities.
Yep.
Continuing to foster that development.
Correct, yes.
All right. Michael Manthey, thank you for stopping by with us.
Yes, thank you, Rusty.
No problem. Good to see you.
Yep.